Okay guys, here I am again with another Star Wars The Old Republic video. Today I want to talk about story, or more correctly interactive story. I've noticed that the narrative elements of Star Wars The Old Republic seems to make a lot of people nervous, or even a little bit irritated at how much emphasis has been put on it. How many of you have played a MMO that you felt you were learning something about the world? Now I'm not talking about the name of a town, or a shortage of beer at the local pub. I'm not talking about learning about the lore from a book or webpage. I'm talking about the game itself teaching you all you need to know about the world around you. I mean really learning something about the history of the game world, or feel like you actually were getting to know its inhabitants, or how about uncovering a mystery. No, me neither. Fans of BioWare games, however, know what I'm talking about. An incredible thing starts to happen when you start out in a game space and you know little about it, but as you play, the world starts to unfold in unexpected ways through story. It's like a new level of exploration.
I've heard of all your work for House Organa. Please, can you come to our aid once more? The Ulgos are preparing a surprise attack.
I'll do everything I can, but I'm going to need some details first.
The commanders of the Ulgo army are camped on the outskirts of the old Pantir castle. They'll have half their army camped around them. Take out the generals, and whatever they have planned will fall apart.
I think only now are we starting to see narrative as gameplay re-enter the multiplayer game space, and that makes me really excited. The power of contextual story delivered in the right way is an amazing experience. Let's hear what Daniel Erickson has to say on this.
MMOs have always been the aspects of the role-playing game without the heart of the role-playing game, which, you know, if you played a single-player RPG that had no story, you would think that somebody had just shipped you something that was not done. And there's been a lot of challenges and technical hurdles to try to do BioWare-level storytelling, which is, you know, a realm more difficult even than storytelling normally in games, and to bring that into the RPG space. At the same time, storytelling doesn't just mean talking. Storytelling means making decisions, having a real reason and meaning behind everything in the game, knowing why the statues look a particular way on Corbin, knowing why the houses are laid out this way, building a living, breathing space.
Here's your opportunity to just shut up and hand over the message.
You don't make demands of me, Mongrel. You think you're doing blasting my droids? I'm a senior administrator of Zerka Corporation.
You could be the Queen of Naboo, for all I care.
I've had all I'm going to take from you, rabble.
Renning deludes the Dark Council into believing he's advancing Sith knowledge. The truth is, he wastes the Empire's time and resources dissecting mindless animals. Bring me the brain before delivering it to Lord Renning, and I'll make it worth your while.
I'm sure there's some way we can work this out.
The power of contextual story delivered in the right way is an amazing experience. An incredible thing starts to happen when you start out in a game space and you know little about it, but as you play, the world starts to unfold in unexpected ways through story. It's like a new level of exploration. As an example, in Mass Effect 2, you meet a companion named Tali. She's a Quarian. The Quarian race has been exiled from their homeworld by a race of artificially intelligent robotic life forms they created. Since their exile, they have lived in a fleet of space vessels. As a result of existing for generations in the artificial environments of their ships, their immune systems have been diminished. They now live out the majority of their lives in encounter suits. The Quarians are a highly technologically advanced race, however, they have developed strict rules about what technology can be developed. Tali, at one point, is accused of treason for conspiring to develop an outlaw technology, and depending on your actions, she may or may not be exiled forever from the Quarian fleet. Why am I babbling on about this? The point here is I didn't learn all this from a comic, novel, wiki page, or reading the back of the box. All this was played out in the game over hours of gameplay, and this was just a side quest.
You'll reclaim your homeworld someday, Tali. If your father can't help you, I will.
Taking back our planet would only be the beginning. We'd have to cannibalize our fleet to rebuild cities and infrastructure. It would take generations of gene therapy to readapt our immune system so we could live without suits again. We'd be adapting our entire culture. Again. Sometimes I wonder if it's actually worth it.
If you don't take back your home, The Geth win.
I won't let that happen. Not today. Not ever. At the very least, we can take back one ship. Come on.
When the game itself teaches you about the game space you're in, it's a memorable, powerful experience, and it's this experience that I think will put Star Wars: The Old Republic in a category of MMO all its own. When characters and places each have their own story, the world becomes a living, breathing space that draws you in and makes you ask that age-old question, what happens next? Contextual narrative gives the game developer the tools to deliver a complete experience and engages your imagination. Where is the story going to take you, and how are you going to react to it once you're there? With over 50 novels of voiced dialogue in the game, as a combined fan of Star Wars, BioWare, and narrative-driven games, my mind starts to race with the possibilities of what's in store for us. In MMOs today, from the second I log in, I can tell you what I will be doing in-game, from start to finish. The basic gameplay is to hit things with a stick until I get to level cap. You can change up the skills or make creatures rain from the sky, but at the end of the day, there are little surprises to be had with the traditional MMO gameplay. The narrative becomes the new uncharted area. What happens when I'm given the option to press the button, or betray that Sith Lord's apprentice, and how will that choice change things for my character down the road? Now, I'm not suggesting that interactive narrative will replace those epic win moments we traditionally play MMOs for. I'm only suggesting that by having a greater connection to the contextual narrative, it will enhance these moments and make them that much more impactful for the player. Let's hear what the doctors have to say on this.
The story element was always important, but partway through we realized when we started doing some of our prototyping just how powerful that element was and that sense of heroism that players had as a result. And so we cranked that up and made it one of the foundation pieces of the game.
Well, it's challenging to tell a story in multiplayer, and that's one of the interesting things we've had to learn some new techniques around. At the same time, a lot of the principles that have worked in past BioWare games, like the way we convey characters and the way the camera angles use the language of cinema, and the way the choice shows consequence, it could be near term, it could be longer term, and try and make that have an emotional impact on the players in a really positive way. Those things actually are very applicable to the way we're telling story in the Old Republic. But one thing we both commented on when we played it was just it was really magical when you discover your ship, your spaceship, and you get to open up the galaxy map and see your ship in front of you and get on board, and it's just this, I don't know, and there's a few other moments like that in the game that are just you just have to pause for a moment because it's just overwhelming. You feel something really powerful.
Well, I think also there's this point, that's actually part of it, this ship, there's this point where you just get a sense of the true scale of the game and how much there is and how much there's to do, and the fact that it is all voiced and it is all this giant story that is there for you to explore. It's daunting but incredibly exciting. I think anyone who plays it, they reach this point and suddenly it hits them and they go, wow, that's something.
If interactive narrative with player choice truly removes the leveling grind from the MMO space, then it truly will be the MMO innovation of the decade. Ultimately, you will need to rate this feature for yourself, but for me, seeing the element that made games like Dragon Age, Mass Effect, and Red Dead Redemption come to life make its way into MMO is all the inspiration I need to give Star Wars: The Old Republic a try. I hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, log on to 4x7. Out.